All right, yo, what's up, everybody? Got a big time matchup of top 10 college football teams tonight between Florida State and LSU. And you know I got an underdog fantasy play for it. Let's get it. The Executive Network is now brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Hit the link in the comment section for a 100% deposit match courtesy of the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy. Win with the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy this NFL season. All right, I got a 4-player Underdog Fantasy Pick'em coming up in a few moments. But first, I want to run through and recap what was a fun, official first Saturday, let's say, of college football yesterday. Not week 0, but week 1. And you got to start with the story of the day. The Colorado Buffaloes, Deion Sanders, Coach Prime team, gets a 45-42 victory over Texas Christian University, the 17th ranked team in the country. Colorado was a 21-point underdog. They win the game straight up on the money line. I hope you hit that money line like I did. Told you in the video yesterday. We was taking the money line. I got it at 7-1. Some of you had it at 750. Some of you had it at 8-1. Whatever the case may be, it's a nice little bankroll booster right there for the upcoming season. Now, as far as Colorado, now we get to see what they are. We can believe in Colorado. We can start handicapping Colorado the correct way. They're going to be a very popular team this year. You saw what Shedeur Sanders did, 510 passing yards, made it look easy. You saw what kind of a beast Travis Hunter was. So now these players are household names, and they have went from being outside of the Heisman Trophy race to inside the Heisman Trophy race. And I'll tell you why right now. We've already seen where before the game, Shedeur Sanders was 150-1 to win the Heisman. That number is down to 40-1. Before the game, Travis Hunter was 100-1 to win the Heisman. That number is down to 40-1. Colorado was plus 200 to win the national championship. That number is now down. Plus 200. That number is now down to plus 100 for Colorado. Still long shot odds, and obviously probably more than likely still a long shot. But I think we're starting to get the story. You got to believe and don't sleep on Coach Prime. What he did, historic. 86 plus 80-something new players on that roster. You get out there, you come out there, and you get a week 1 victory. And then people say this morning, oh, well, TCU ain't the same TCU as last year. Hell, Colorado ain't the same Colorado as last year. They got 86 new people on the team. Don't sleep on Coach Prime. He could pull this joint all the way off. That Pac-12 is very tough, though. The Pac-12 has not lost a college football game yet this season. Undefeated Pac-12, so shout out to them in their last year of existence. Looks like they're trying to go out with a bang. Now, the only issue I do have with Colorado and the Buffaloes, and I know Coach Prime was going to talk his talk yesterday, talk about the receipts and stuff like that and the people that doubted him. I get that, but I think he took it a little bit too far. Listen, we all love Coach Prime. I don't think there's nobody that's not rooting for Coach Prime. The problem is the people in the media that covers the team, it's not their job to root for Coach Prime. Coach Prime is a great leader, a great man, very inspirational figure, but those rabbit ears, I think, is a little bit problematic. Just go ahead and coach your team, dog. The media is not against you. Trust me, they're pulling for you 100%. Some more observations I want to make from last night's action. Drizzy Drake May, another Heisman Trophy candidate, was phenomenal. Not phenomenal, but pretty good last night versus South Carolina. He threw 2 picks, but he also threw 2 touchdowns. Looked precise in his decision-making. Good feet, strong arm. Everything that you want to see in an elite college football quarterback, Drizzy Drake May brings it to the table. On the other side of the ball, bad night for Carolina. They could not run the ball. They could not stop the run. They could not get off the field on 3rd down. That is going to be a thing for Carolina Gamecocks all year long. Can they get off the field on 3rd down, and can that offensive line generate some kind of running game? Because sitting back there letting Rattler, mediocre ass, keep throwing it, not necessarily going to get the job done. Up next for the Tar Heels match versus Appalachian State. That's an in-state rivalry. They played that great game last year. Carolina won that game in overtime, 63-61. Next week, they meet up in Chapel Hill. So Drizzy Drake May gets to keep his Heisman Trophy candidacy rolling. You just definitely saw what kind of quarterback he was. Speaking of quarterback play, shout out to Drew Allure in Penn State. He threw for over 350 yards, 3 touchdown passes for Drew Allure. Penn State, 7th-ranked Nittany Lions, they get it done over West Virginia. A lot of people think that Penn State is the real deal. And I'm starting to warm up to that as well because I did not like the way Ohio State looked, even though that's albeit that's only one game. But Penn State, Drew Allure, 7th-ranked Nittany Lions, they could be a team that has a little bit of, I don't want to say issues, but they could be a team that can give the big dogs in the Big Ten problem. And I'm talking about Michigan and Ohio State. So right now, put a star next to Drew Allure and the Penn State Nittany Lions. Right now, ranked 7, but that's a team that could make a fight for that college football playoff. Alabama coming into the season, the big question was the quarterback situation, and albeit it was just Middle Tennessee yesterday, Jalen Milroe was fantastic, threw 3 touchdown passes, ran for 2 touchdowns. Alabama, of course, blew Middle Tennessee out. But it still needs to be noted, though, that Milroe looked good. The team played good. Now, Isaiah Bond and James Burton both caught long touchdown passes. If these explosive plays are back in Alabama's passing attack, then I would expect Alabama to continue to be a contender for a college football playoff spot, despite a lot of people thinking that they don't have it this year. We saw Jalen Milroe look good. Now, I know the competition was not up to speed, but obviously next weekend they got the big one on the big night game when Texas comes to Tuscaloosa. That's really when we're going to be able to critique Alabama, but it was good to see them get some explosive plays back in their passing game that definitely was missing from their attack from last season. And then obviously tonight we got the big top 10 matchup between Ohio State, Florida State and Louisiana State. That game is going to be in Camping World Stadium. You got LSU coming in as the 5th-ranked team in the country. Florida State, the 8th-ranked team in the country. Got an Underdog Fantasy Pick'em play coming up for you. But first, when you take a look at the odds, courtesy of Visions and the breakdowns right here of the splits. Now, this number is moving in Florida State's favorite, despite a lot of money coming in on LSU. So you see some good reverse steam hitting the Seminoles. So you got some sharp money coming down on the Seminoles. And listen, it is nothing wrong with putting some money on the Seminoles in this contest right here. Because, listen, I would have took Florida State at 2.5 as well. But if I'm wagering on the game tonight, I'm going to go with LSU on the money line. I think LSU wins a 1 or 2 point game. So my bet's going to be LSU on the money line. I'm going to stick with my cap, despite the sharp money steaming to the side of Florida State. Win or lose, both teams I still see being in the running for the college football playoff this year. Now let me go ahead and get you my Underdog Fantasy 4-player pick'em for LSU and Florida State tonight. Now, if you want to get down with Underdog Fantasy, first-time depositors, new users, there's a link in the comment section. Take you right to Underdog Fantasy. You hop on that app. You give them the promo code EXEC, or you can just click that link in the comment section. That'll take you right there and qualify you for a 100% deposit match. You put $10 in, they put $10 in, you put 20, they put 20, all the way up to $100. That code, that link in the comment section is how you get down with Underdog Fantasy for all you first-time depositors. And if you just download the app, you can use the promo code EXEC, EXEC. Get down with Underdog Fantasy. Okay, here we go for tonight's entertainment purposes. 4-play pick'em fantasy sports stats-based contest. We're going to go with Florida State running back Travis Benson, higher than 14.5 receiving yards. That's Florida State running back Travis Benson with higher than 14.5 receiving yards. Then we're going to go Florida State quarterback Jordan Travis, lower than 2 touchdown passes. That's Florida State quarterback Jordan Travis, lower than 2 touchdown passes. Then we get to the LSU side. LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors, higher than 67.5 receiving yards. That's LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors, higher than 67.5 receiving yards. And finally, LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, higher than 45 rushing yards. LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, higher than 45 rushing yards. All right, so if you want to get down Underdog Fantasy, remember, hit that link in the comment section. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy week 1 of college football season. as it gets ready to come to a close over this Labor Day weekend. Nice little quick recap of the weekend. Your boy, the fantasy exec, Corey Parson. We are out.